Listen closely, because if you found yourself here, it's not by accident. This message, this exact moment, was ordained. You are not like everyone else, and you've known that for a very long time. Maybe you never had the words for it, but deep within, in the quiet hours when no one else was watching, you felt it. That sacred pull, that quiet fire. You are one of the chosen ones, and the time has come for the veil to be lifted. The world never quite fit right, did it? From the earliest days, you could feel the weight of being misunderstood. While others danced to the rhythm of conformity, you walked to a beat that no one else could hear. They called you too sensitive, too intense, too quiet, too bold, too much or not enough. But all they were really saying was, "You're not like us." And that was the first sign. Being chosen isn't glamorous, it's not coated in gold or surrounded by cheers. It's a lonely road paved with betrayals, heartbreak, and silence. But it is sacred. You were marked from birth, not by the hands of man, but by the very breath of the divine. That mark cannot be erased, no matter how many tried to mold you, break you, or bury you. You were not meant to blend in. You were born to stand out, because the light inside you is not of this world. Can you remember the moments that tried to destroy you, the betrayals that cut so deep it felt like your soul was bleeding? The nights you cried out, asking why you had to endure so much, while others seemed to float through life with ease. Those weren't coincidences. They were initiations, tests, spiritual flames that forged your soul into something rare and powerful. The chosen ones are not given easy paths. They're given divine ones. Pain was your teacher. Silence was your sanctuary. And loneliness? That was the cocoon where your wings began to form. You learned how to survive without validation, to grow in the shadows, to hear the voice of God in the quiet yan when the world turned away. That, beloved, is the mark of the chosen. You endured what others could not, because your calling is what others will never comprehend. There is a spiritual army, unseen by human eyes, that walks with you. Have you ever noticed the strange way life protects you? The doors that slam shut just before disaster. The people who suddenly exit your life with no warning, only for you to later see it was divine protection. That's not coincidence. That's orchestration. Chosen ones are covered, guarded, hidden until their appointed time. And yet, the enemy knew. From the moment you began to awaken, dark forces moved against you. Not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous. Your light, your insight, your truth, it rattled the gates of darkness. And so the attacks came, not always loud, but persistent. Subtle betrayals, relationships that drained you, environments that tried to silence your voice. You were being hunted spiritually, not because of your past, but because of your future. But here's what they didn't realize. Every attack made you stronger. Every wound became wisdom. Every season of silence became a sacred preparation. They thought they were burying you, but God was planting you. And now the soil has cracked. The roots have taken hold. Your breakthrough is no longer a prophecy. It is a promise being fulfilled. You were not chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were willing to feel deeply, willing to fall and rise again, willing to walk alone if it meant staying true to your soul. That kind of strength can't be taught. It's born through fire. And you, dear one, have walked through the flames. Maybe you've asked yourself, why me? Why did I have to be the one who saw the truth? Why did I have to carry this weight, this vision, this pain? But let me ask you this. Who else could have survived what you did and still kept their heart intact? Who else could have gone through hell and emerged with empathy, compassion, and vision? That's not weakness, that's divine resilience. The chosen are not arrogant. They are humble warriors. They don't need to shout their power because their presence speaks louder than any word ever could. When you walk into a room, the energy shifts. People feel something they can't explain. Some are drawn to you without knowing why. Others are repelled, uncomfortable with your clarity. That's because your spirit speaks truth even when your mouth stays silent. You are light in a world that has grown comfortable in the dark. Your empathy is not a curse, it's a compass. Your tears were not wasted. They watered the seeds of your purpose. And your silence? It trained you to hear the whispers of heaven. You are not broken, you are becoming. Becoming everything the darkness feared you would remember. Becoming everything the world tried to make you forget. So many around you tried to dim your flame because it exposed their shadows. You didn't lose friends, you shed dead weight. You didn't fail, you were redirected. You didn't get rejected, you were protected. And now everything that left you is being replaced by divine appointments, sacred connections, and supernatural alignments. It's not just about your journey, it's about your assignment. You were placed here to break cycles, to destroy generational chains, to awaken others by your mere existence. Your pain birthed purpose, your rejection birthed redirection, and your solitude birthed spiritual authority. You don't have to prove who you are. The anointing speaks for itself. When the time is right, God will put you in rooms no one can keep you out of. But first, He had to separate you, to prepare you, to awaken you. You had to be hidden before you could be revealed. You had to be broken before you could be rebuilt. And now, that time has come. Do you feel the shift? The tingling in your spirit? That's confirmation. The divine realm is moving. Heaven is aligning with your purpose. The old season has expired. The mourning is over. The ashes are being exchanged for beauty. You are not walking into your destiny. You're being launched into it. The battles you've faced were never random. They were recognition. Hell doesn't fight what it doesn't fear. You've been marked, protected, and prepared. And now all of heaven is watching as you rise, not in arrogance, but in purpose, not in ego, but in truth. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are not broken beyond repair. You are chosen. And nothing, no weapon, no word, no wound can stop what God has ordained for you. So rise, chosen one, not just in body, but in spirit. Your time has come, and the world has no idea what's about to be revealed through you. There's something they never tell you about being chosen, that even though you're marked by the divine, you'll often feel like the most forgotten one in the room. The battles you faced weren't just difficult. They were spiritual wars disguised as ordinary life. But you know, don't you? Deep in your bones, you felt the tension between light and darkness playing out within your very existence. You were not just living, you were surviving, fighting through storms that others never even knew were raging around you. But the invisible scars, the ones no one clapped for, those were earned in spiritual realms. While others slept peacefully, you were awake, wrestling with thoughts, questions, doubts that clawed at your soul. And yet you never stopped. You bled, you wept, you stumbled, but you kept walking. That's not weakness, that's divine endurance. Sometimes the greatest spiritual warriors look like the quietest people. The ones who don't shout their strength, but carry it in their posture, in their eyes, in the way they hold space for others, even while silently suffering. You've been that person, holding the pain of others, carrying burdens no one saw, fighting demons in silence while smiling on the outside. Don't you realize what that means? You are the storm that never bowed, the thunder that learned how to sing. You stood in the fire and learned how to walk through it without being consumed. And while others tried to destroy your spirit with their envy, their betrayal, their dismissal, you never gave them your soul. That is the kind of power darkness fears most. The reason your journey felt so intense was because your light is not average. Ordinary souls don't get attacked like you did. The things that came against you weren't just physical setbacks, they were spiritual strikes. And each time the enemy thought this would be the blow that would silence you for good. But every time you rose, slower maybe, wounded, yes, but still rising again and again. You are not just alive, you are resurrected. Every friend who turned on you, every family member who didn't understand you, Every opportunity that slipped through your hands, it all had a hidden purpose. You weren't being punished. You were being preserved. God does not waste his warriors in places that are not worthy of their anointing. So yes, you were rejected, but only because the room couldn't contain the fire in your spirit. The adversaries that came against you sensed something in you that you hadn't even discovered yet. They weren't reacting to who you were. They were reacting to who you were becoming. You see, spiritual eyes can detect rising power, and the enemy always moves fastest when a chosen one is on the brink of awakening. Do you remember how your peace used to make certain people uncomfortable? How your silence seemed to trigger their chaos? That wasn't about you. That was their spirit recognizing your depth, your clarity, your divine connection, and it frightened them. Your very presence disrupted their illusions. You didn't try to expose their darkness. You simply existed, and that alone was enough. There is no hiding when you're chosen. Even in your most broken state, people could feel something different about you. That glow in your eyes, that unwavering hope even in despair. That's the evidence of someone who has walked with God through the valley of the shadow of death and returned with wisdom the world can't manufacture. And now, beloved, something sacred is happening. There's a shift. Heaven has issued a decree. The ones who tried to mock you, they're watching now. The ones who plotted against you, they're restless. Because your rise isn't just a comeback story, it's a divine unveiling. The power you cultivated in silence is about to echo so loudly, it will drown out every lie spoken over your name. They didn't know who they were messing with. They didn't realize they were poking at someone anointed, someone who had angels assigned to them, someone whose footsteps were ordered, whose tears were counted, whose trials were supervised by the Most High. They laughed at you when you were down, but they forgot. The chosen are never down for long. God always lifts them at the appointed time. This right now is that appointed time. Everything they thought was your ending was really just a turning page. The betrayal, fuel, the heartbreak, refinement, the isolation, sacred training ground. God was never punishing you. He was preparing you. And the next chapter of your life will be the revelation of why it all had to happen that way. Some of you have asked silently, God, do you even see me? The answer is yes. Not only does he see you, he never took his eyes off you. He saw the tears you cried when no one else did. He heard the words you couldn't say. He felt the ache you tried to numb, and he recorded every moment in the archives of heaven. None of it was wasted. Even the mistakes you made out of confusion, God factored those into your journey. The shame that tried to follow you, it's being burned off. The guilt that weighed you down, it's dissolving in the light of truth. The people who tried to define you by your lowest point, they're about to watch you be redefined by the hand of God himself. You were never weak for feeling deeply. You were never wrong for loving fully. You were never broken for not fitting in. Those were signs, proof that your spirit was not meant for shallow waters. You were made for depth, for sacred things, for healing, for awakening. You carry codes in your spirit that can unlock chains in others, and the enemy knew that. But the divine is not silent anymore. Your power, once hidden, is now being revealed. The world is shifting to make room for what you were born to do. Your voice is being restored. Your name is being redeemed. And your adversaries, they're watching, uncomfortable, confused, shaken, because nothing they tried worked. Everything that tried to destroy you made you stronger. Everything that was taken from you is being replaced with abundance. Not just material, but spiritual wealth, wisdom, discernment, joy that can't be touched, peace that can't be shaken. You're not who you used to be, and they don't know how to handle that. They underestimated you because they didn't understand you, but God never needed their approval to move you forward. He's been preparing a table in the presence of your enemies, and they're going to have to sit and watch you be elevated, not out of revenge, but as a testament to the divine protection and purpose on your life. So don't be surprised if people from your past try to come back. Don't be alarmed when old cycles try to resurface. That's a sign you're rising. That's a sign the enemy is panicking. But you are not who you were. You've been through the fire. You've been forged in truth. And nothing can drag you back to places you've outgrown. Your enemies know something's coming. They can feel it. The same ones who whispered about you in rooms of doubt are now speaking your name with fear, because they sense the divine hand moving. They see the light breaking through the clouds, and they know what was once hidden is now being revealed. You are the living proof that grace is real. That purpose can survive pain. That light can rise from darkness. And now the world is about to witness what only heaven has seen until now. The emergence of a soul who refused to break. A chosen one who stood firm through every storm. A divine being finally ready to shine. Now comes the moment when heaven speaks loud enough for the whole world to hear. The hidden ones, the broken, the betrayed, the misunderstood, are rising into full view. And this rise is not subtle. It is a divine announcement. God is about to reveal justice publicly, and your name is on that decree. The pain, the humiliation, the exile, every ounce of it has been recorded in the courts of heaven. The time for silent suffering is over. The time for divine reversal has arrived. You must understand that justice in the spiritual realm doesn't look like revenge. It looks like vindication. It looks like restoration. It looks like those who laughed now sitting in silence, unable to comprehend how someone they cast aside is now walking with divine favor. God doesn't settle scores the way people do. No, He prepares a stage. He positions His chosen where everyone can see. And when He lifts you, no one, not even your most calculated enemy, can block the light that falls on your life. There are people who thought they succeeded in burying you. They spoke curses with their mouths and lies with their smiles, but God heard it all. Every scheme, every betrayal, every plot in the dark, it has all been weighed. And now the scales are tipping. What they meant for harm is about to become the very ground you stand on as your legacy begins. They thought they ended your story, but they were just the necessary villains in a divine plot twist. Heaven is a witness to your suffering. Every tear, every sigh, every moment you questioned your worth, God saw it. Not only did He see, He kept records. He watched how you handled it. He watched you hold your tongue when you could have cursed back. He saw you choose silence over scandal, humility over vengeance, love over hate. That was your test. That was your refinement. And now the reward is coming. Not because you demanded it, but because you were faithful even when it cost you everything. Beloved, the reversal is near. There's a holy wind sweeping through your life. What was down is coming up. What was hidden is being revealed. What was broken is being mended with gold. This is your season of recompense. And not just a trickle, a flood, an overflow of what was held back until you were strong enough to carry the blessing. God didn't deny you, He delayed it to protect you, because what's coming now cannot be touched, tainted, or stolen. You see, divine justice isn't just about correcting a wrong, it's about realignment. The energies that surrounded you are shifting. People who once ignored your value will suddenly try to align with you. Systems that tried to silence your voice will be forced to acknowledge your authority. And the inner healing you've done in secret, it's going to radiate through every space you enter without you having to say a word. Some of you have been in a wilderness for years, not physically but spiritually, isolated, unseen, misunderstood. You prayed for deliverance, but heaven was quiet. You wondered if you were forgotten, but no, you were being cultivated. The chosen don't come forth in noise. They emerge through silence, through crushing, through fire, because when they finally rise, they don't rise empty. They rise full of wisdom, full of power, full of authority, full of light that blinds the darkness. And now your cup is being filled in the presence of your enemies, not to humiliate them, but to show them that what God blesses cannot be cursed. You are not rising because of who you know or what you have. You are rising because of who you are, because you dared to be honest, because you refused to bend your truth, because you chose to heal when it would have been easier to hate. This is your crowning season. The things you used to beg for are being placed in your hands without striving. The doors you once knocked on in desperation are opening at your approach. And the dreams you buried because the world told you they were too big, God is breathing on them again, because He never forgot. He just needed you to become strong enough to carry the weight of the vision. And you are strong enough now. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't just heal, you evolved. And now when you speak, chains will break. Not just for you, but for others. Your voice is anointed. Your hands are healing. Your presence is prophetic. You carry something this world desperately needs: authenticity forged in fire, compassion born from pain, power purified in silence. That is why your victory is not just personal, it's generational. You're breaking curses, dismantling strongholds, rewriting narratives. Your rise is going to free more than just you. It's going to liberate those who are still in the places you once cried in. The authority you carry isn't ego, it's earned through agony. The wisdom in your eyes wasn't learned in books, it was downloaded through divine suffering. And now it's your time to stand up, not just in your physical life, but spiritually. Stand in your truth, stand in your identity, stand in the knowing that you are not here by accident. You are not small, you are not forgotten. You are divine, you are chosen. Let this be your call to action, not just to believe, but to move, to step boldly into the next phase of your destiny. No more shrinking to fit into spaces you've outgrown. No more apologizing for being too deep, too intense, too intuitive. You were never too much. The world was too shallow to hold you. Walk forward with the confidence of someone who has been handpicked by the Creator. Speak with the authority of someone who has been entrusted with sacred knowledge. And love, yes, love with the fierceness of someone who knows what it feels like to walk through hell and come out still capable of healing others. It's not about proving anything anymore, it's about being. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your existence is the evidence. Your peace is your protest. Your joy is your revolution. And your story, it's the prophecy fulfilled. Let those who doubted you watch in awe. Let those who mocked your path now whisper in wonder. Let the ones who walked away try to figure out how they missed the diamond they once held in their hand. But do not look back. Don't seek closure in places God already closed. Don't water seeds that were never meant to grow. Your only task now is to rise, not in pride, but in truth, not in ego, but in calling, not in rebellion, but in divine order. Your spirit has been shouting your identity all along. You are the storm, you are the calm after. You are the answer to prayers your ancestors once whispered into the wind. And now you are finally ready to walk as the chosen one you were born to be. Heaven is watching, the earth is waiting, and you are ready. Have you ever stopped to ask why the attacks against you have been so relentless? Why your name seems to stir emotions in others that you never intended to provoke? Why your very existence, your light, your truth, seems to ignite both admiration and hatred in equal measure? It's not random, it's not accidental, it's not personal in the way most people think. No, it is deeply spiritual, because what you carry threatens the systems that have survived on deception for generations. You must understand this: the chosen are not hated because they do wrong. They're hated because they reflect what is real. They are mirrors in a world that has been trained to worship illusion. And when a chosen one steps into a room, the masks begin to melt. The lies lose their grip. The hidden motives in people's hearts get stirred to the surface. You don't even have to speak. Your presence alone is disruptive to those who are still clinging to what is false. This is why the attacks were never really about you. They were about the frequency you carry, the truth embedded in your DNA. the ancient wisdom in your blood. You are a living paradox in a world obsessed with conformity. You are both fire and stillness, both depth and light. You expose things simply by being who you are, and for those who aren't ready to face themselves, that is terrifying. You've seen it, haven't you? The way people project their wounds onto you, how they lash out, not because you've harmed them, but because you reflect back the parts of themselves they've refused to heal. That's the spiritual paradox. You become both a threat and a lighthouse. You draw the hurting and the hateful alike, because your energy speaks louder than your words. And while some are drawn to your light, others try to extinguish it, not because of who you are, but because of what you awaken in them. That is the cost of being chosen. You don't get to walk through life unnoticed. Your very being activates transformation. But not everyone wants to be transformed. Not everyone is ready. Some would rather silence the truth than face it. Some would rather slander you than sit with the discomfort your presence brings. They don't hate you. They hate the way their soul trembles around you, because your spirit carries memory. Memory of freedom, memory of God, memory of purpose. And the systems built on fear cannot coexist with that kind of frequency. But this is not just a psychological truth. It is a spiritual law. Light attracts both beauty and bugs. You will draw those who need healing and those who will try to harm you for offering it. And the more authentic you become, the more resistance you will face. Not because you are wrong, but because you are aligned. Alignment is dangerous to those who've built their lives on misalignment. Truth is threatening to those who've made peace with deception. And so your journey has felt like warfare because it was warfare. Spiritual battles waged in subtle glances, in passive aggression, in betrayal disguised as friendship. But underneath all of that, beneath the harsh words, the rejection, the jealousy, was one truth. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to disrupt. You are not a product of this world. You are a reminder of another realm. But still, the pain has been real. The loneliness, the confusion, the internal wrestling. You've questioned your own reflection, asked if you were the problem, tried to dim your light just to be loved, compromised your truth for the comfort of temporary belonging. But every time you did, your soul rebelled. Because a chosen one can never unknow what they know. You can't shrink forever. Your spirit will always rise up again, even after you've buried it beneath layers of people-pleasing and fear. You are here on assignment. You were sent with blueprints woven into your spirit. Every hardship was a clue. Every loss was a breadcrumb. Every attack was a spiritual nudge saying, "Wake up, remember." And slowly, painfully, beautifully, you did. You started remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And with that remembering came pain, but also power. You are not here just to survive. You are here to awaken, to activate others, to call them back to their original design. That is why the darkness came for you so early, because if you ever discovered your truth, if you ever dared to live from it, entire systems would shake. And now they are. Your rising is not just about your life. It is a ripple effect that touches generations. You are repairing timelines, shifting legacies, mending spiritual DNA. You are not just healing yourself. You're healing everything that came before you and everything that comes after. And so the psychology of your attackers becomes clear. They were broken, just as you once were. But instead of healing, they chose projection. Instead of facing their shadows, they tried to smother your light. But that is not your burden to carry anymore. You are not responsible for their refusal to grow. You are not their mirror, nor their scapegoat. You are a vessel of transformation, and it is not your job to make yourself smaller to keep others comfortable in their pain. Forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Let them go, not because you're weak, but because your destiny requires your full presence. The next part of your journey cannot be delayed by unfinished wounds. Your spirit is ascending, and you cannot carry dead weight into sacred territory. You have a mission, not in a grandiose, ego-driven way, but in the quiet, soul-shifting way only the chosen understand. You were sent to awaken love, to speak truth, to challenge illusions, to be a sanctuary for others who are ready to remember who they are. And none of this can happen if you keep trying to convince people of your worth. You are done proving. Now you are simply being. Let your life speak. Let your healing be the sermon. Let your peace be the proof. The time for justifying your presence is over. You are here, you are divine, and you are ready. Everything you've endured, the sabotage, the silence, the soul-wrenching nights, it all served to activate this moment. You are aligned with your higher self. You are connected to Source. You are moving in rhythm with heaven's pulse. And nothing, no voice, no opinion, no memory can stop what has already been set in motion. So walk now, not with fear, but with reverence. You carry sacred fire. You carry generational keys. You are not a mistake. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are chosen. And now the world will begin to reflect what you've known in your soul all along. It's already begun. You can feel it, can't you? The old is falling away. The illusions are crumbling. The veils are thinning. You are stepping fully into your mission. You are not who you were. You are who you were always destined to be. You've come this far not because you were lucky, not because life showed you favor without cause, but because something within you refused to die. Even in the darkness, even when everything and everyone said, "You are finished." Even then, your spirit whispered, "Keep going." And now, as the dust begins to settle, you must finally embrace what heaven has been saying about you all along. You are the chosen one. This is not flattery. This is not fantasy. This is prophecy meeting memory, because your soul always knew. Even before your mind caught up, your spirit remembered. That is why you never fit in with the crowd. That is why you questioned what others accepted. That is why your heart could not settle for shallow, for surface, for systems that numbed the soul. You were sent here to awaken what others forgot. And now the veil is lifted. You are not who you once were. You've passed through the refining fire. You've walked the wilderness. You've touched grief and betrayal and abandonment. And yet here you are, heart still soft, spirit still open, vision still intact. That is the strength of the chosen. You were broken, but not destroyed. You were bruised, but not bitter. You were tested, and now you are ready. This world has tried to define you by your wounds, but heaven calls you by your healing. You are no longer the sum of what you've been through. You are the rising proof that even ashes can sing. You are becoming the very answer to the prayers you once sobbed into your pillow, and everything that fought to silence you is now becoming the fuel behind your voice. You were never walking alone. Every step, even the ones taken through tears, even the ones that led you away from the crowd, were divinely guided. You weren't being lost. You were being hidden, protected, covered by grace while you healed in private. The ones who laughed at your silence had no idea you were being rebuilt from the inside out. And now, as you emerge, you no longer carry the need to explain yourself. You are the explanation. This is your reminder. You do not need validation to walk in your purpose. You don't need applause to carry truth. You don't need approval to move in your anointing. You were set apart, and what is set apart is often misunderstood. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them wonder. Your results will speak for you. Your energy will introduce you before your words ever can. And your presence will shift rooms, not because you tried to, but because it is written into your spirit to awaken others simply by being. Now is the time to reclaim everything that was stolen. Your identity, your confidence, your voice, your fire. This is not just your comeback. This is your becoming. The people who counted you out are about to watch you flourish in places they said you'd never enter. And you will not rise with vengeance in your heart, but with clarity in your eyes and divine peace in your soul. Because chosen ones don't rise to prove, they rise to fulfill. So breathe. Let this truth soak into your bones. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You have not missed your moment. Everything you've lost will be returned, not always in the same form, but in a higher one. And this time, you will recognize it. You will be ready for it, because this time you are showing up as your whole self, no longer fragmented by fear or seeking to be what others expect. You are rising as you, fully, deeply, divinely you, and this rise is permanent. Yes, life will still test you. Yes, shadows may still approach, but now you know who you are. You don't flinch the same way. You don't break the same way. Because once you remember you're chosen, you move differently. You speak with authority. You love without attachment. You walk with a knowing that no human hand can reverse what God has written. This is your sacred call to action. Stand tall, walk boldly, speak truthfully, and love relentlessly. Let the world feel the weight of your healed presence. Let every space you enter be altered by the light you carry. Let your life be the sermon you no longer have to preach. You are chosen, not just to believe in light, but to be it. In your work, in your family, in your silence, in your joy, even in your pain. The chosen are not perfect. They are real. They are raw. They are radiant because they have walked through shadows and still returned with stars in their hands. That is who you are, and now you no longer need to question it. You have been called. You have been tried. You have been trusted, and now you are being released. So go. Go where your spirit leads. Go where the path widens, where the heavens echo your name in alignment. Go where your heart is seen and your truth is welcomed. And as you go, leave footprints of light for those still wandering in the dark. You are not just chosen. You are appointed. You are anointed. You are ready. The journey continues, but now you walk it knowing exactly who you are. Farewell for now, beloved. May your path be lit by divine fire, and may every step be blessed. Until we meet again, keep rising.